Zhang Shan and the rest were unsure of what they were feeling. They had no reason to be jealous over such a victory. Whether they liked it or not, Luo Fei had gone all out. This was how life worked. For this battle, they could only applaud Luo Fei. The first half of the battles ended and the next round started, and this upcoming battle would be the top 4 battles most influential, Saruman's Snake Battle Team against the Soulless Battle Team. It would not be a surprise to anyone if either of these teams were to appear in the finals, but right now, they were about to face off in a top 4 battle. There was no path of retreat. The victorious team would be rewarded with the best rest and conditioning while they await for the opponent to appear. As for the Sword Shield Rose Battle Team, it could be said that they were having it relatively easy. The destroyed the remains of the Dynasty Battle Team could not be their match. Even if Lear was divine, with Lin Feng around, they had an oppressive advantage. It could be said that what the Sword Shield Rose Battle Team needed to do was to wait for an opponent for the finals. Whether it was on purpose or not, they had the home team advantage, so there was nothing to say. In actuality, the Sword Shield Rose Battle Team did have the right to be in the finals. Outside of the competition, every country was readjusting their odds. There was no doubt about it, the Sword Shield Rose Battle Team had already become one of the hottest choices to become champions. The second half consisted of 3 teams that could win the championship, but these 3 teams had to fight it out before meeting the Sword Shield Rose Battle Team. Everyone could see the battles, and the more that was shown, the easier they could be countered. According to recent reports, the support for Sword Shield Rose Battle Team to win the championship was at 85%, and they were closely followed by the Sea Queen Battle Team. In the far-off galaxy, it was deep into the night. Meng Tian gazed up in the sky. She could not see any stars, there was only a silverish-blue aurora shining continuously. This was a region that was unnaturally formed. The silverish-blue light in the sky was a phenomenon that was a result of the clouds releasing lightning. The atmospheric composition here was obviously stranger than that of usual planets. Many days had passed, and she had already understood the situation here roughly. This was not an alien civilization, but a human one, a super cutting-edge organization that had no nationality, no government, nor any restrictions. Meng Tian did not understand the existence of such a scary organization, one which owned such frightening technology and strength yet was absolutely restrained. The only thing they could be sure of was that there was a relation between here and the Saint World, which was similar to it. Meng Tian had once been there, so she was clear that this was not coincidental. Aside from them and the captured Royal Fleet members, there were some military students who were in the Saint World who had been forcefully kidnapped to this planet using some specially strange teleportation technique. It was obvious that this teleportation technique was relatively advanced, or it could be said that that kind of procedure was a gap. When they entered the Saint World, they were actually doing a type of space shift. Meng Tian was, after all, a student of Ares College, so she also understood space shift techniques, but not to such levels. Meng Tian was not sure what the Milky Way Alliance would do or whether there would be a rescue team. She was not so naive. The Milky Way Alliance may take action, but the pros and cons of the rescue had to be weighed. The mysterious organization behind all this likely had some plot. If not, there would be no reason to leave them alive. What Meng Tian had to do now was stay alive. The campfire beside her was burning, but it was not for keeping warmth, but to chase away winged beetles. Meng Tian. Menga added a soil medicine ball that was mixed with deworming leaves into the bonfire. A light green smoke, accompanied with a smell undetectable by humans, spread out. Go and rest, leave the rest to me. A bracelet had been installed onto everyone's hands, so unless they cut off their hands, it could not be taken off. The bracelets had a countdown timer, and they had to go through continuous battles in order to earn time. Once the time was up, it would explode. Meng Tian nodded her head and lied down lightly. Drowsiness came over her and she quickly fell into a deep sleep. There was breathing, someone was approaching. Meng Tian abruptly awoke, pulled out her bone knife that had been made by grinding a beast's bone, and stabbed across. It's me. A low voice sounded. Yuan Jing was using all his strength to hold onto Meng Tian's wrist. It was slightly exhausting, and the bone-chilling cold was making breathing difficult. Meng Tian woke up alarmed, hurriedly pulling back the knife. Sorry. I was too close, Yuan Jing said as he shook his hand, which was slightly injured from the cold. 3 days ago, when he was trapped in a swamp, awaiting death, he had met the team Meng Tian had brought and escaped death. Meng Tian personally pulled him, who had already lost all his strength, out of the moss. This world had become a mess. As time could be stolen from others, there were more people killing rather than saving. It was simply hell. Sometimes, they only rescued people for the sake of personally killing them to seize their time. Doing this was much easier than the missions given by the controller behind the scenes in this world. It could be confirmed that all their movements were being tracked. Sometimes, they wanted them to kill an enhanced Zerg alone, sometimes they did not allow them to use their ability X. If the mission failed, it would mean death. If they did not comply, it would also mean death. In such a short time, many people had died. Either way, those who survived had either allied or were strong. Humanity was given a cruel test under such devastation. The reason why they persisted was because they could leave here alive after completing 100 missions. Was it real or fake? It was no longer of importance as they had no choice, their lives were in other people's hands. If they wanted to live, they had to live in cycles. Meng Tian and the rest evidently persisted by teaming. They were soldiers and could still control their own emotions. She did not know about the rest, but she needed to stay alive and find a way out of here. Yuan Jing gazed at Meng Tian. This young fleet captain was their leader. Under such circumstances, she could still maintain a calm mind. Although she did not seem to care about anything on the surface, Yuan Jing knew that Meng Tian had a kind of persistence in her heart. For the sake of that persistence, she wanted to live on. Actually, Yuan Jing had already given up, but looking at Meng Tian, he did not know why, but he wanted to live on. Maybe there would be a day where he could invite Meng Tian for coffee at school. Such a simple reason had actually become the reason for him to live on. It was simple and practical. It was not just Yuan Jing, but everyone else in the team also thought that way. Meng Tian had helped maintain their humanity, allowing them to persist and resist the urge to attack others and giving them no choice but to take the bigger risk to finish those weird missions. It was just, when would they reach the end? Some people gave up because they felt that no one would look for them, or that they would not be able to wait until that moment. And for Meng Tian, in actuality, Meng Tian herself did not know if there would be anyone who remembered her. Her father, Earth's general, was always busy with work. He was rejuvenated with being busy, and only when he himself achieved good results would he remember. Even when she set off with the explorer team, her father had said nothing. Life and death were up to fate, and victory and defeat were up to the heavens. This was a soldier's callousness and responsibility. What about him? She had heard that he had gone to Aslan and he had the world's most beautiful princess. What about her? The Sikh has already entered its most fervent stage. The Saruman Snake Battle Team and the Soulless Battle Team would be battling in 3 days' time. The regular venue had been almost destroyed to bits, and Aslan's staff were stepping up on repairs. At the same time, the protective energy walls also needed to be repaired. It could only be said that these people's fighting strengths were terrifying. The Soulless Battle Team was calm and collected, and Aragorn was the same as well. The outside world had differing opinions, but they were not of Arbiter's concerns. Captain, the Van family's rank has dropped by 38 seats and our support rate has also increased. If we can successfully clinch the championship, we should be able to hold an invincible position. Aragorn nodded his head. There were conflicts externally as well as internally. Aragorn's Bora family and the Van family had been competing for many years. Previously, it had always been to the Van family's advantage, and it was only in recent years that the Bora family had grown in grandeur. Incidentally, it had been Sig that dealt the Van family a heavy blow. The Van brothers were definitely well-known figures amongst the younger generation and were very internationalized. However, they had both succeeded and failed as well. Their continuous defeats in international competitions had caused Arbiter, originally an extreme nation, to be incredibly dissatisfied. Such emotions exploded through when the Asura battle team suffered a terrible defeat. This was the Bora family's chance. They had suffered patiently for so many years, waiting for an opportunity for a fatal attack. Captain, I have gathered some intel recently. That guy named Wang Jung seems to have something going on with Princess Aina. With regards to this, Aslan seems unreliable. Aragorn coldly laughed. Whether it is me, Jondi Lilac, or the people of Aslan, or even that Wang Jung, we are all just pawns. Kashan never had plans to marry the princess off from the start. Can you not see it is clearly based on the Sword Shield Rose battle team's performance? Haha, they are not our match. But do we have to expose ourselves in just one battle with Saruman Snake? Aragorn was silent for a moment. In the entire SIG, only this Wang Jung could be my match, so we cannot be careless. As for Kashan, not everything will go as she pleases. Word has already spread that if we win, I will propose to Aina. Whether she agrees to it or not, I would still stand to gain. And of course, Wang Jung has to die. The arbiters would definitely not allow such rumors to spread, and Aragorn was also not blind. If he were to become Princess Aina's man, all the more Wang Jung must die. Aragorn did not have the bad habit that Mars and his brother had, treating each other like brothers. This was a world where the strong feed on the weak. He had a greater ambition and he also lacked a woman. Princess Aina was the crown pearl, and she would, of course, suit him. Using full force to pressure the Saruman snake and kill Wang Jung in front of Aina was how an arbiter man would prove himself. As for whether Aina liked it or not, he couldn't care less. Women were meant to be owned and enjoyed. The soulless battle team's members all laughed. This was expected. This was the arbiters' methods. The Saruman snake battle team would not be able to block the soulless battle team at full force, and the next step would be to destroy the people of Atlantis. Although that battle would be harder, it was not a problem for the arbiters. On Wang Jung's side, they were also proactively preparing. Saruman snake did not have much chance of winning, neither did they have a card up their sleeves. Wang Jung also did not have many advantages. Based on the strength Aragorn had displayed, the odds of Wang Jung winning were 50-50. It would be even harder to gauge for the other positions. At this moment, the Saruman snake battle team had a special visitor. It was actually Mars. After his devastating defeat, Mars had been living a secluded life. Although his body had not fully recovered after treatment, it did not affect his viewing of the following matches. His complexion still looked pale. No matter how resolute he was, that defeat had inflicted serious damage on him. However, it seemed that he was still holding on. The arbiters' tenacity definitely lived up to their reputation. You've witnessed a laughable situation. The two had exchanged a few greetings, and it could be that he had felt it in Wang Jung's gaze, so Mars calmly said that. Wang Jung slightly shook his head. It is only in adversity that one's real depth can be seen. Mars bitterly smiled. A failure is a failure. The arbiters have always decided a hero based on his results. Luo Fei is definitely strong. I do not feel wronged about losing. You were largely caught off guard. Had you been prepared, he may not have won, Wang Jung stated. Mars, having been under the limelight, had already been thoroughly researched by people. Let's not talk about this. I'm here this time to let you know that for the next match, if possible, please give it up, Mars said. Wang Jung was slightly stunned, then he laughed. This is not like you. Why have you become the other party's mouthpiece? You know that I will definitely win. Mars faintly sighed. From the bottom of my heart, I do hope that you can win, but the possibility is close to zero. Aragorn has already reached Earth rank level 3, and because of Aina, he will definitely kill you during the match, based on his personality. The rules will not be able to protect you. Wang Jung smiled. Why do I feel like you are not here to convince me to give up, but are hoping that I win? A hint of smile revealed on Mars' pale face. Haha, you've seen through me. Then I shall speak openly. I hope that you win. If the soulless battle team successfully enters the finals, our family's situation will become even more difficult. You might be wondering why I, a person from Arbiter, would be colluding with outsiders though. Wang Jung did not speak. This was also what he was wondering about, as it was not the typical stance of people from Arbiter. Arbiter internally is not as peaceful as it seems. Our Van family took initiative to strengthen our attitude towards global cooperation, to cooperate more with the Milky Way Alliance, while the Bora family advocated strongly for aggressive political strategies, having mobilized battles for greater benefits to contend against Aslan. Our loss here has shaken our family's position. If Aragorn continues forth, Arbiter will likely be under the Bora family's political influence, Mars said. When Mars and his brother came to Elite Academy X, they showed their stance by interacting with other countries, whilst what Aragorn represented was the aggressive extremist idea of a militarist state, upgrading himself by starting battles. It may be just a small area conflict at the start, but if it escalated. Wang Jung wrinkled his brows. He could not care for so much, but at least his goal and Mars were the same. What I mentioned at the start was not just some hearsay. I have witnessed your capabilities, but with Aragorn, I'm afraid that you will be evenly matched. His physical techniques may not be as good as yours, but his ability X is above yours by a level. Most importantly, this time round, the Soulless Battle Team will be bringing in 4 Earth rank warriors. When Mars finished his words, Wang Jung was completely stunned. It is not just the Soulless Battle Team, the Sword Shield Rose Battle Team as well. Actually, it was just a vying game between Aslan and Arbiter from the start. Mars laughed bitterly. It was a pity that he could not represent Arbiter, and could only be this bottle's supporting role. This meant that within Arbiter, the Bora faction had already gained the upper hand. From Mars' view, this would drag Arbiter into a spiral of war. There was no wrong in chasing after great ambitions, but war was not something that every country could stand, especially since such extremist thoughts could bring about world wars. Of course, from a smaller perspective, when the Bora family took control, they would either concede or be cleaned off, with the latter having a greater possibility. At the very least, they would not be a radical group anymore. Wang Jung's brows tightened. This was not good news. He had expected for the opponent to have 1 or 2 Earth rank warriors. If that were the case, the current Saruman Snake Battle Team would have the capabilities to contend against them, but he never expected that they would be all Earth rank warriors. This completely messed up their pre-match deployment plan. Wang Jung glanced at Mars, but Mars stood up. Wang Jung, if you can battle, do battle. If not, please take retreat into consideration. This was the reason why Mars had come. Wang Jung felt that he was not there to help, but rather to create more worries. He did not provide any solid information. However, Wang Jung also did not expect much. Even if Mars had any information, he would not give it out. At least he would not be caught off guard by Aragorn's attacks. 5 Earth rank warriors. From the current lineup of Saruman Snake, it was really difficult. The SIG seemed like an exchange amongst the colleges, but in actual fact, it was a competition between the countries. While making the SIG a big event, Aslan had also made full preparations to be ready for the competition. 3 days of rest was meaningless for the 2 teams. 3 days was insufficient for them to polish their skills. There was a special SIG report on the Skynet at this moment. Giali, the president of the Aslan Royal College Student Council, had conducted an interview with Aragorn. Giali had actually been conducting interviews with several teams throughout the competition. Scarlet only initially wanted to let everyone know more about the weaker teams through these interviews. After all, such opportunities were hard to come by, and it was a good thing to have an additional avenue for everyone to know them. However, she did not expect the interviews to generate such unexpected attention. Even the teams from the smaller nations had been showcased. Even though they had lost, they were finally able to show off their individuality. Furthermore, as everyone had their own preferences, they were able to have their own fans. At the same time, they had also made a name for their schools. However, as the attention slowly increased, many people wanted to know more about the stronger teams, especially those in the top 8 of the SIG. Some people may not have thought much about the top 8 and believed that only the champion deserved the attention. However, this was not the truth. The current top 8 were already the hottest talking point amongst the military schools and even the comprehensive schools. Of course, they had treated this as a sports competition. As such, their enthusiasms were number 1. Even the quadrennial Pan-Milky Way Alliance University beauty pageant could only be ranked 2nd. Ali felt a great sense of achievement too, as not everyone could have conducted such interviews. The interviewer had to have substantial abilities and reputation. Others had tried but were all basically rejected. However, Ali was different. She was the president of the Student Council of the Aslan Royal College. She was not just an ordinary enthusiast. To many of the teams being interviewed, this represented Aslan's attitude, so it was an honor as well. If they had no special characteristic, why would anyone conduct an interview? Besides, Ali's original intention was good, so she was supported by many of the teams. At present, she had already worked with 32 teams. Of course, many teams had already been eliminated. However, the focus to this series of SIG interviews was not the outcome of the competition, but rather the personal abilities, sharing their growth journey, and experiences. It was also about the event's highlights, and showcasing the essence. As such, everyone was the main lead. Being popular was only natural. With popularity and the accumulation of fans, the interviews would be hot topics. Apparently, even the attending military personnel at the meeting were very interested. This was because the interviews contained the personal views and evaluations of the players. It also included the players' predictions of the winner of this SIG. The point of view and the insights of the players were obviously unique. Furthermore, the majority of the students also wanted to know the thoughts of these people. For example, the captain of the Northern Star Formation battle team, Zhang Zun. I think Saruman Snake will be champion in this SIG. I know a lot of people think it would be the Sword Shield Rose battle team or the Soulless battle team. But I believe Wang Zheng will lead the Saruman Snake to victory. Zhang Zun was seen waving his fists on the big screen. Ali smiled slightly. Willingness to accept the interview and willingness to speak their minds were two different matters. Honestly speaking, President Ali's goddess aura was incredible, and she was very good at chatting and uncovering the inner thoughts of the players. Captain Zhang Zun, can I ask why you are such an admirer of Wang Zheng? From your words, I get the feeling that you idolize him a great deal. I wonder if my description is appropriate? Asked Ali. No, not idolize, it's absolutely idolized. Go, Wang Zheng, go. Zhang Zun roared at the monitor. We are now talking to Captain Malolo of the Versailles Empire. Which team do you think will win the competition? And who do you think is the best in this SIG? Malolo of the Versailles Empire was undoubtedly a top player, and a regular soldier. Unfortunately, the Versailles Empire was not strong enough. Of course, the crucial fact was that the opponents were very strong too. Malolo's expression was still rather relaxed. From the overall strengths and current situation, I would predict the Sword Shield Rose battle team to win the championship. Ali smiled brightly. Thank you. I will convey the message. Let's hope the Sword Shield Rose battle team can really do it. However, in my opinion, Wang Zheng is the player in this SIG to look out for. Even if he is not a top-class player now, he will definitely be the best of the younger generation within the next 5 years. Ali was taken aback. You don't seem to have faced Wang Zheng before. Why would you think so? Malolo smiled slightly. A lad from Earth who had just passed 20 leading a bunch of misfits, excuse the French, and yet managed to advance to the quarterfinals. After this SIG, he is very likely to become one of the youngest warriors to be named in the top 100 of the X-Battle standings. Who should I favor, if not him? Ali had interviewed quite a number of people, and she was surprised to find out that while many believed that the Sword Shield Rose battle team would win the championship, the MVP for this year's SIG should be awarded to Wang Zheng, even if he would be eliminated in the semifinals. The best rider was as hard to determine as the second best fighter. Wang Zheng was highly favored by most people, regardless of whether they were the 20-somethings or the mature 30-something warriors. I predict that the Sea Queen battle team will be crowned champion. If the Atlanteans were not hiding, they would represent the strongest fighting power in the Milky Way Alliance. As for MVP, I think it should go to Wang Zheng, said Kyle, captain of the Fiery Bear battle team. Captain Kyle, do you believe this because he is young? Asked Ali strangely. She realized that as a representative of Aslan, Lin Feng did not have many supporters. Some even thought that even though Lin Feng might be stronger now, Wang Zheng would eventually surpass him. This was because even though Wang Zheng was the youngest among the Earth rank warriors, he was highly skilled. Kyle smiled. It is not so. It's not important if he's 20-something, or needs another 5 or 6 years. In terms of combat skills and ability Wang Zheng is very well balanced. Of course, a few people in this SIG can achieve this too, and this is so pressuring us too. However, no one has as much spirit as Wang Zheng. If you watched the qualifier rounds, you would know. His ability to withstand stress is the strongest I have ever seen. The interviews were shown one after another. It was useless to blow your own trumpet. True strength came from gaining recognition from your opponents. Most people would discuss their own teams, but if they were to mention another team, it would be Wang Zheng first, followed by Lin Feng. Si Jiali knew about Wang Zheng. Although she could not say she had a full understanding, he was not unfamiliar. Furthermore, she had also once admired him, maybe even liked him as girl would like a boy. Except that she did not think that Wang Zheng stood any chance. In terms of personal strengths, Lin Feng was more well-rounded, more mature, and more powerful. But for some reason, everyone seemed to favor Wang Zheng. Maybe it was because of the appearance of being weaker. After all, Aslan was just too powerful. It was natural for them to wish in their hearts that Aslan could be suppressed. Following the comments of the heavyweights, mainly because of Scarlett's image and reputation, this student president of the Royal College became popular instantly. Many had left messages wanting to know the thoughts of the heavyweights regarding this SIG. Since their reputations and perspectives were different, their analysis would definitely carry more weight. Si Jiali was also refining, even targeting the generals. After all, they were the true professionals, having come across many top players in the military services. However, most generals were not willing to accept this sort of interview. Obviously, they did not need this kind of exposure. Furthermore, their statuses were different from that of the students. The students could say whatever they liked. They had to be mindful of many things. They would not accept this type of unofficial interview. Si Jiali had expected this. However, there were always surprises, and it was from a real heavyweight, General Bolette from Manilasuo. General Bolette was a true expert in military affairs. This meant that he was not a politician, but one who truly understood military matters. He was very influential in both Manilasuo and within the Milky Way alliance. His stunning remarks could be heard from time to time at the military reforms in the Milky Way alliance. Furthermore, he was also known to be blunt and direct. Under normal circumstances, this was bound to offend many people. However, this had become his style, especially since he also criticized his own people. This had instead become a special case. He would discuss whatever others were afraid to discuss. Si Jiali was rather excited. Once the trailer was released, it attracted a lot of attention. Information about General Bolette was uncovered and revealed. He was the leader in the reforms of the Manilasuo military, and was enjoying a very high status. Furthermore, his characteristic was that he had no individualism concept. Strengthening Maniluso was only natural. However, he chose to be in the Milky Way alliance and to see from the point of view of the humans. Only through this method could he exert international influence. Bolette gave very rigorous reviews of the 16 teams, including the Manilosuo team from his home country. When giving his reviews, his analysis of the strengths and weaknesses of all the battle teams were not made from Manilasuo's perspectives, but rather from the humans' perspectives. To be able to rise through the ranks to be a general, they would definitely each have to possess their distinguishing characteristics. In fact, Bolette was the leader in research. His reviews were both in-depth yet simple, and very authentic. Even Si Jiali listened with relish. Thank you, General Bolette. After your analysis, I feel that I have a clear understanding about the thoughts and future developments of the mecha. However, we still have a rather childish question. Who do you think will win the next match, which is also the big match of the semi-finals, Saruman Snake or Sword Shield Rosé? Also, who do you think will be the MVP of this SIG? Asked Si Jiali. In fact, one did not have to watch. The number of questions asked in the live broadcast of this interview had reached an amazing level. The on-demand viewership had exceeded 100 million. It was obvious that many people were watching. Bolette was silent for a while. According to the current data, Saruman Snake has 3 Earth rank warriors. Wang Zheng is a little more mature and possesses Earth rank 2 power. The other 2 are level 1. It is somewhat a pity that Snow Lee is a sniper. The current team battle arena does not give a sniper the opportunity to perform. In a battle between Earth rank warriors, non-Earth rank warriors basically have no opportunity to perform. So, what you are saying is that the Warrior Soul Battle team led by Aragon is going to win. From the recent surveys, the support rate for the Warrior Soul Battle team is as high as 78%, said CG. If there are no surprises, the Warrior Soul Battle team will mobilize 5 Earth rank warriors in this SIG. Aragon apart, the other 4 have attained Earth rank level as well. So, you're saying that the rumors are true? Asked CG. Bolette smiled nonchalantly. I do not believe that the top teams from Aslan and Arbiter have not made any preparations for these battles. As far as the current Milky Way alliance, only Aslan and Arbiter can do this. In the grooming of the younger generation of leaders, these 2 countries are indeed in the forefront. There's no need to be jealous. This is only natural. Since they are already in the semi-finals, there is no need to hide anymore. CG was not surprised that Aslan was named. Just like Bolette had said, they could no longer hide whether they were Earth rank or not. Ability X was the main focus during the individual battle. However, being Earth rank was critical in team battles. Non-Earth rank warriors could not participate at all, and it could even endanger their lives. Even worse, they could be a hindrance to the team. This was Saruman Snake's Achilles heel. Bolette did not reply directly. Instead, he asked CG, if you were the Warrior Soul Battle team, what would you do? CG did not hesitate. That's easy. Let Wang Zheng win 1 round, then take any win and force a team battle. However, if Aragon can triumph against Wang Zheng, then they could win with a sweeping 3-0 score. This would be relatively safer. The first match is of vital importance. It's anybody's guess if Wang Zheng will gamble on the first match. Bolette nodded. Her thoughts were very clear. This was Wang Zheng's dilemma. If he were to gamble on the first match and Aragon did not come on, then the team battle would be the decider. However, if Wang Zheng did not start first, and the Warrior Soul Battle team took the first win, then they would be forced into a passive situation. Aragon would definitely attack Wang Zheng. The Warrior Soul Battle team had the capabilities to take 3 consecutive straight wins. Your thoughts are quite good. Judging from the overall strengths, the Warrior Soul Battle team definitely has the advantage. But I think that Saruman Snake will win, said Bolette with a smile. CG was totally shocked. The live comments on the message board exploded instantly. What the hell was this? After the tactical analysis, Bolette's analysis was indeed accurate. Yet, in a sudden turn of events, he was telling everyone that he thought that Saruman Snake would win. This was so contradictory. It would not have been a big deal for the average person, but this was Bolette. General Bolette, did we hear you wrongly? Bolette smiled slightly. No, you heard me right. The Warrior Soul Battle team does have an advantage in terms of their overall strength, but I personally think that Saruman Snake is better. It can't be because of Wang Zheng, right? Asked CG dully. This adorable expression had endeared a lot of people. Many thought that Bolette would not give a direct answer. Surprisingly, Bolette nodded. If I were to judge the MVP, I would vote for Wang Zheng. Winning the championship will indeed be very difficult, but I believe that the Warrior Soul Battle team cannot stop him. CG did not know what to say. This was an unreasonable subjective superstition. Bolette was really not superstitious, and did not believe in being superstitious. He had witnessed Wang Zheng's growth. From IG, Wang Zheng had created miracle after miracle. He had always thought that Jondi Lilith's Death Vine was a deadly ability X. The wood attribute was the most complex and most profound branch of the 5 elements. The Death Vine was supposed to be invincible, yet Wang Zheng had broken through it with ease. He believed that Wang Zheng had yet to reveal his full power. However, one certainty was that the Warrior Soul Battle team would definitely inflict serious injury upon Saruman Snake, although they might not be able to claim victory over them. In fact, to Wang Zheng, His individual leadership abilities were already very strong, but he was lacking in luck. The solar system was too weak. The people around him were basically still the same people back in the IG. Even if he was at Elite Academy X, it would still be the same. No one would follow a human from Earth. Looking at the composition of Saruman Snake, a lunar man, a Mars man, and a Teta man. The only addition was a person from the Hail Cloud Alliance who was lucky to be in Earth Rank 1. The entire team was very united and highly synergized, but it was too fragile. As the saying goes, if you have no hand, you can't make a fist, so they would not be able to achieve much. Just like what happened in IG years ago, by the time they faced the Arbiters after battling with Atlantis, they were already like an arrow at the end of its flight, spent force. Like fatal reincarnation, they were assigned to the same group as Atlantis again. Even if they could beat Solus, they would not be able to beat the Sea Queen battle team. Furthermore, there was still the Sword Shield Rose battle team waiting. Looking at Sword Shield Rose's opponent, it was like winning without having to fight. In fact, Bullet would not associate the champion as heroes. However, this was an era where results mattered the most, and political views were valued higher than individual heroism. As a military man, he had heroism complex. It was a pity that it had been annihilated along with the long river of time. So, he hoped Wang Zheng could fight any battle that came his way. As for Saruman Snake defeating the Golden Wheel battle team, he could pretend to the outside world that he was a little pent up. But in actual fact, he was not at all. He admired Wang Zheng more than Jondi Lilac. He had watched him grow gradually. How he wished that Wang Zheng was from Manalasuo. After another round of interview, Sijiali gained another Wang Zheng supporter. Wang Zheng had indeed performed extremely well. However, because of his team, just before being annihilated in the glories of Aslan, Arbiter, and Atlantis, the attitudes of the participants once again brought attention back to him. But was this a good thing? Honestly, Sijiali did not think so. It was a feeling of being roasted on the fire. To quote a saying, was this a pre-match humiliation? This sort of attention was completely useless. Once defeated, he would be thoroughly embarrassed. Bullet's self-contradictory interview instantly pushed the battle between the Solus battle team and the Saruman Snake battle team to the peak. These were remarks by a rare expert supporting a weaker team, and the reasons were also rather objective. As for the two battling teams, what others believed was inconsequential. Only the situation was laid out here. Wang Zheng had thought long and hard for the past 2 days about Saruman Snake's last meeting before the battle. There was no need to consider what was to come. Everything was over if they could not advance through this round. For Achilles and the rest, the results were not that important. Honestly, what was the significance of the SIG for Saruman Snake? It was just a stage to showcase their talents. They represented Elite Academy X. What was Elite Academy X? Was it their own country? Not at all. There was no lack of honor. However, having reached this stage, their sense of honor had not been as strong as imagined. Of course, each contestant represented their own country, but there was still a difference from being in the national team. Regardless of whether it was a member of the solar system, or a member of the Hail Cloud Alliance, or a Titan, having reached the quarterfinals was more than enough. What needed to be showcased had already been showcased. To beat Arbiter, that would mean risking it all. Even then, it might still not be a victory. There was no retreating for Wang Zheng, and that was clear. As a man, he could not use mere words to prove his worth. He did not have the same resources as Kashan, so he had to fight. If he were to lose this time, he would never be able to hold his head high up in front of Kashan. Besides, he knew that Kashan would not give him a chance. He had to win so that Kashan could have no excuses. For the last meeting before the battle, Wang Zheng did not seek out anyone else except Zhang Shan, Mu Zhen, Achilles, Lai Xin, and Snow Li. He was silent for quite a long time. Everyone's eyes were on him. The overall strength of the Solus battle team is stronger than ours. If we go into the team battle, basically, it will mean a defeat, said Wang Zheng. The coordinated combat of the Earth rank warriors was frightening. Wang Zheng had never witnessed it. But he knew that with his current situation, he would not be able to withstand it. He was not a god. Aragorn alone was difficult enough. The Saruman snake had resources that they could be proud of. They were very united and their coordination were very good. However, compared to the Earth-rank coordinated combat, that was a completely different level. No one said a word. They were all looking at Wang Zheng. There is only one way, and that is to win all the individual battles, said Wang Zheng. These words were only spoken in the internal circle. If these words were to get out, many people would laugh their heads off. However, Wang Zheng's analysis was correct on one count. The soulless battle team could place their bets on team battle, but Saruman's snake could not. This was Mar's real motive. He did not want to say that the soulless was strong, but to let Wang Zheng know that the coordination of the Earth-rank warriors involved mental synchronization. This was not something Saruman's snake could stand against at the moment. Their only chance was the individual battles. The only way to win was to take a higher risk. No one, including Zhang Shan, spoke. They merely stared at Wang Zheng. Wang Zheng stood up. I don't know if I'm qualified, but I hope everyone can help me take 2 wins. The room was still filled with silence. The importance of 2 wins at this moment was not something that they could easily agree to. It was more than just words and empty promises. Everyone knew the weight of Wang Zheng's words. If they were to lose a battle, Wang Zheng would have no other choice. He would never give up. He wouldn't push the responsibility to Aina. This was the pride of a man. He would fight to the death. No one spoke not because they were timid, but because none of them had the confidence. Who dared to say that they could definitely win against a member of the soulless battle team? Achilles, Snow Li, Zhang Shan, Mu Zhen, and Lai Xin were all indeed strong fighters. However, having been through so much already, and with their strength growing, they were also very aware of how big the world was. They were no longer frogs in the well. It was unthinkable to beat the soulless battle team in fell swoop. Achilles stood up. I'll take the first battle. I can take the first win. Everyone was stunned. They obviously understood the importance of his words. Achilles was not one who would make a promise easily. If he did, he would definitely keep his promise. But Wang Zheng, Saruman's snake doesn't belong to you alone. You're not the only one who wants to win. A mere quarter-finals appearance is not enough for me. I came to win the championship. Achilles strode proudly forward after finishing those words. The pride of the sun god. It was as if the proud Achilles of 5 years ago had returned. Lai Xin did not speak, not because she did not want, but because she was not confident. Even if she fought with her life, she still had no confidence. Achilles was just being stubborn. For a long time, the few orphans of the solar system had been traveling around, depending on each other and battling together. They had long become best of friends. They had been battling for Saruman's snake, for their dreams. Mu Zhen longed to battle. He even craved for such battles. Except he knew that his brother in combat wanted the victory. This was no ordinary battle. Mu Zhen had no confidence. The human Earth rank warriors were too frightening. The arbiters was the best of the best. Rumors were a kind of illusion, a sin. Snow Li had no confidence. She was a Earth rank warrior, but she had no confidence to win a one-on-one battle with Arbiter. Not even in the least. This was not something that she could achieve by simply going all out for it. At this very moment, Zhang Shan let out a few dry coughs. A smile appeared on his face. After waiting for so long, it's finally time for Big Brother to demonstrate my skills. I'll take the second match. The room was still silent. Zhang Shan could not pretend any longer. What the hell? Why do all of you look down on me now that I am finally plucking up the courage to volunteer? Although I'm not Earth rank, my new moves are still rather amazing. Lai Xin shook her head slightly. I wanted to take the battle, but I'm not as good as Zhang Shan. This may be a better choice. Everyone was stunned. Snow Li nodded her head. That's an actual fact. We can only count on Zhang Shan to fight it out. Zhang Shan was stunned too. He never expected Lai Xin to utter such words. Even though he had come this far, he had endured the scorn of many, including Lai Xin. They had different starting points. Lai Xin had always been one of the best in the solar system, and still was. But now, at this very moment, Lai Xin had actually admitted that she was no better than himself. It was indeed something he could never have dreamt of. Stop looking. Stop bragging. If you win, big sister here will buy you a drink. If you lose, then get lost. Haha, I'm definitely getting that drink. Wang Zheng, give me something more practical. This challenge of mine is really very tough. I'll buy you drinks, said Wang Zheng. What? You're not even a beauty. Who the hell would want to drink with you? I'll have to seriously think about what to get from you. This is a tough one. Once I have an idea, I'll let you know. Be prepared. It's going to be tough, bellowed Zhang Shan loudly, as if victory was already in hand. There were no battle tactics to consider. The difference in strengths for the team battle between the two teams were very huge. They could only gun for it in the individual battles. When the meeting was over, Zhang Shan stood in front of the window in the room. The list of the 4 members of the Arbiter team flashed across his mind, and it disappeared just as quickly. There was no smile, no confidence. Someone had to step up at a time like this. They had always relied too much on Wang Zheng. This fellow had only 2 shoulders, and a head too. He had always shouldered all the responsibilities. Zhang Shan had always hoped that one day he could share some of those responsibilities as well. Even if it was only for this one match. The night was beautiful. He wondered if he would still be able to see it after tomorrow. The next day, the arena of the Knights of Lights was fully packed. The anticipation was no second fiddle to the first battle between Aslan's Sword Shield Rose battle team and Sea Queen. This could be because of the coverage by CGI before the battle, making this battle even more anticipated. Furthermore, due to her immensely popular SIG interviews column before the battle, the event committee had specially invited CGI to be a special commentator. At the same time, they had also specially invited a partner for her. A heavyweight personality, the captain of Manilos's Golden Wheel battle team, Jondi Lilac. Even though they had been eliminated by Saruman Snake, Jondi Lilac was still a top player in this SIG. It would not be a problem for him to be voted as one of the top 10 players in the tournament. Following the announcement on the big screens, Jondi Lilac's entrance was followed by loud cheers and applause. Regardless of his victory or defeat, he had gotten the approval from everyone. Although the result was important, everyone had their own thoughts and judgments. Jondi Lilac was truly strong. A professional, accompanied by a sensual CGI, a perfect match of good looks added more liveliness to the SIG. In addition, while conducting SIG interviews, CGI came fully prepared with all the information of all the teams. The chairman of the Aslan Royal College Student Council was also very good. Captain Jondi, I'm very happy to co-host the main event of the semi-finals with you. I'm an amateur. Please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, said CGI laughingly. You're too modest, CGI. Wouldn't I be hunted if I were to correct the chairman of the Aslan Royal College Student Council? Said Jondi Lilac with a laugh. He was relaxed and his stage presence was also very good. He could even take the jokes. He had already got over from his defeat after so many days. In actual fact, there was nothing he should be obsessed about. It was a simple case of him not being as skillful as his opponent. From battle tactics to the actual battle, he had done his best. There was nothing to complain about. If he wanted to regain his honor, he would have to continue to hone his skills after the tournament. CGI laughed too. It's the debugging of the mecha, and the introductions of the members of both teams who will be taking part in the battle. Everyone should be very familiar with them by now. We don't need to repeat the introductions. As an opponent of Saruman Snake, what are your thoughts about this battle, Captain Jondi? I'm sure a lot of people would like to know that. Since he had agreed to be the host, Jondi Lilac was obviously mentally prepared that he would be slapped in the face with such a question. From their overall strengths, I'm personally more optimistic about the Soulless team. The coordination between Earth rank warriors is formidable. I've seen a military cover of this. The combination of 5 Earth rank warriors can defeat an entire regiment of a regular army. The scene was really spectacular. As soon as he spoke, Jondi Lilac showed his worldliness. Not everyone possessed this sort of experience. However, as far as individual strengths are concerned, it's a 40-60 chance between Wang Zheng and Aragorn. But we don't know if we will be able to witness such an exciting individual battle. From Arbiter's point of view, they would definitely win if they forced a team battle. Tactically speaking, there was no need for Aragorn to battle it out with Wang Zheng, thereby creating more variables. This was an actual battle, and they could easily suffer from injuries, thereby affecting the team battle. A 60-40 chance? Asked Sigiali. This was a new concept. Jondi Lilac smiled. Allow me to clarify. I have no personal preferences in this battle. As the SIG progressed, many amazing ability X's have appeared. However, up until now, from the minor 5 elements to the major 5 elements, the strongest yet iced wood element. The ability of life systems are hard to defend against. Just like the devouring abilities of Lear and Luo Fei, and My Death Vines. My Death Vines could not be controlled by any ability X, based on the devouring of mental strength and vitality. Simply put, it is undying. The 5 elements are powerless. It would still be impossible to destroy it even for an Earth rank level 3. Personally, up till now, I still have no idea how Wang Zheng could have managed to crack the secret behind it. A heated discussion spread amongst the audience. Jondi Lilac was showing off somewhat, but it was also a truth. His Death Vines had been listed as one of the undefeatable ability X's. In this SIG, the Wood Element warriors had shone brightly, displaying extremely powerful combat power. The lethal moves were especially difficult to defend against. Oh, you mean Wang Zheng is hiding his true strength? But then why are you still more optimistic about Aragorn? Sigiali was even more intrigued, and so were the others. Very simple. According to the X Power list, Aragorn, who is at rank 86, is now the youngest record holder of the X 100. Everyone knows the X Power list, and this is a wonderful battle list. There aren't many people who are high on the list based solely on their wins. It requires a combination of event assessments, such as personal strength, survivability, and so on. Those who make it to this top 100 list are monsters. What's more, those who are on the list and are still under the age of 25 are freaks among the monsters. This battle list has, to a large degree, eliminated accidental factors. Thus, even though Wang Zheng's performance has been highly against all odds, I still think that Aragorn is better. Without a doubt, this will be a fierce battle between two of the best. I'm truly honored to be able to witness this. Jondi Lilac said with a smile. Frankly, not only could the captain of the Golden Wheel battle team fight, his personal charisma was also very strong. Some people might be good warriors, but they might not be good leaders, especially in situations like this that required thinking on your feet. Jondi Lilac was quick to take command of the momentum, displaying his abilities and at the same time accomplishing his tasks. People would remember the battles as well as him. It's starting. It's starting. Man, why am I so nervous? Right now, everyone at Ares College was waiting for the start of the battle. Yao Island and Chen Shu were definitely the commentators for this battle. The match also used holographic images. For Ares College, this day was really important. 2 people in the Saruman Snake team were from Ares College, even though they are representing Elite Academy X this time. It was enough as long as Ares College's name was mentioned when they were introduced. The most important thing was that Wang Zheng and Zhang Shan had become the mental pillars of Ares College. Of course, the difference in the average strength of the school could not be caught up at once, but the power of the exemplar was endless. Everyone was no longer willing to lag behind and were unwilling to be obscured. In the recent years, Ares College had been improving quietly. Everyone regarded Wang Zheng as an idol. Even Wang Zheng himself did not know what kind of change and confidence he would bring to this century-old school with his every improvement. Before the battle, everyone in the college had done a thorough analysis of the opponents. In previous tactical classes, most were just going through the motions. However, this was different. Everyone was racking their brains to look for the weaknesses of the opponents. But it was of little use. The soulless battle team was simply too powerful. From Aragorn's performance, it seemed that it would be a close battle with Wang Zheng. Of course, everyone thought that as the greatest king, Wang Zheng could beat Aragorn. But it would be ridiculous to think that there would be no damage done. So, for the Saruman Snake to win, one of the members of the team would have to step up and force the battle into a team battle. This would give Wang Jung a chance to take out his opponents in one strike. As for the battles that were to come, there was no need to consider them now. The entire academy was shrouded in a tense atmosphere. For everyone, as long as they were already in the semi-finals, they were already winners. As for the battles that were to come, they need not pursue them so obsessively. The differences in strengths were obvious. But this was still a battle that they could try to win. On the other hand, at Aslan's home ground, Sijiali and Jondi Lilac were talking and laughing. As the president of the Royal College Student Council, her ability to muster the atmosphere was never doubted. Through the creation of excitement of small things, everyone was looking forward to the start of this battle. Below the stage, Lin Feng and the rest were already in the arena. The entire team of both the Sword Shield Rose Battle Team and the Dynasty Battle Team had taken the best seats in the house. Even the important political figures did not receive such treatment. This was a respect and honor given to them because they were the players in the semifinals. The Dynasty Battle Team was really famous. But those who liked Wang Jung had all their focus on Saruman Snake. However, Lear was also leading a team with key members from Earth. Furthermore, he and Luo Fei were the deciding factors for their victory. This was significant. Of course, if there was a flaw, it would be that the 0 Degrees Battle Team was not a really strong team. Nonetheless, Lear had still led the Dynasty Battle Team into the semifinals. Lear was feeling very relaxed. He had not felt so relaxed in a long time. It was a rare opportunity for him to enjoy watching Wang Jung's troubled and wretched look. The feeling of taking the lead first was definitely different. To have achieved such an outcome was all in Lear's plan. He was not harsh on himself. This was a reasonable setup. The next step was to see how he could make his victory even bigger. Just like back on Earth, or even the solar system, the Kronos family used the power of the media that they were controlling and greatly advocated Lear's achievements, and they were rather successful at it. However, the only thing that stood in the way was Wang Jung. A great man cannot brook a rival. After all, he was the greatest king. If Wang Jung could not advance to the semifinals, then the situation would change. Reasons could be found, but how many people would notice the details? It would not take a long time for people to only remember the result of this SIG. Lear would be the only person from the solar system to be in the semifinals. This would be enough. They would not be staying in the college for much longer, and it was impossible to have such opportunity for exposure again. This was fate. Maybe he had won countless times in the beginning, but this was Lear's chance to turn the tables. He had not had such feelings in a long time. He knew the Harbinger Battle Team well too. Although they were strong, they were not as strong as his dynasty team. Lear had never underestimated the power of the sacred religion. However, he would never believe that the Harbinger Battle Team would be able to defeat Sea Queen. Double advancement and double harvest. It was natural that Lear was full of pride for himself. Luo Fei was not there. That fatso was still stuck in a can, recuperating. There was no need for Lear to hide anything. He needed to prepare well for the next battle. Different battlegrounds required different battle strategies. There were also many ways to showcase himself. Although Lin Feng was very strong, he had his flaws. Ladies and gentlemen, both teams are done with their debugging. Now let's welcome the third match of the semifinals. The Saruman Snake Battle Team versus the Soulless Battle Team, Vanguard Battle. Sijiali's crisp and loud voice sounded throughout the arena. In an instant, the arena was filled with deafening cheers from the audience. All the warriors were in at the moment. Instantly, they were also enchanted by the fanatical atmosphere. No one could resist it. After all the years of training, who would not desire such a stage? A battle just like this. But such high standards would always belong to the select few. Battle of the Vanguards. Both teams have already sent on their members for the Vanguard battle. Representing the Soulless Battle Team is their vice captain, Menlo. Inside the cockpit, Menlo was emotionless. Instantly, the big screen zoomed in on him, focusing on the cold look in his eyes. The chill of Arbiter. Invincible. They were soldiers who lived to battle. In fact, this was a very good angle as it perfectly showed off Menlo's characteristics. It instantly ignited the fiery passion for real tough guys. In addition, the same frenzy could also be seen in Arbiter. As a result of the defeats of the Asura battle team and the Steel battle team, Arbiter was embarrassed. They needed a battle of some weight to prove themselves, to defend their honor. Saruman Snake was such an opponent. The vanguard for the Saruman Snake battle team, Achilles from the moon. Roar, roar. In the players' area, there were frenzied roars from the teams from the solar system. The defeats at the qualifiers were indeed a huge blow to them. However, they were here because they were following the footsteps of their seniors. That was their mental support. At the moon, all the military colleges had stopped their classes. They were all waiting for this battle. The first to come on was Achilles. This was an honor for the moon. From the moment they fell from the solar system, the pride of the men from the moon had never diminished. They had always hoped that one day, they could stand on such a glorious arena once again. The moment had finally arrived. The influence of Achilles at the moon schools was undeniable. Starting from X Academy till now, the son of the moon had never faltered. At this very moment, the moon, the earth, and Mars were finally aligned. They were rooting for the same person. However, the expressions of the members of the Saruman Snake battle team were very solemn. The time had finally arrived. All hope hinged on Achilles' battle. In all honesty, if he were defeated, Saruman Snake would most certainly have to pack up and go home. It was not impossible to try defeating Wang Zhang, but even if he were to sacrifice his life, Saruman Snake would still be halted at the semifinals. It would be impossible for him to win everything on his own. He needed his brothers in combat now. Achilles, Heavenly Dragon Knight Mech. Menlo, Frenzy Mech. The two mecha walked into the arena. In this arena in Aslan, Menlo was well known to everyone, a terrifying arbiter warrior. However, beyond Aslan, the students from all the major military colleges were more familiar with Achilles. After all, he was the greatest king in Saruman Snake. Thus, he had been in the limelight more frequently. From general popularity, the handsome Achilles was more popular than Menlo. However, everything from the past was meaningless in the battlefield. Menlo's frenzy mech was carrying a huge alloy battle axe. It was evident that Menlo was very relaxed. On the other hand, Achilles' handsome face was unfazed. Needless to say, the importance of this match weighed heavily on him. The two mecha moved slowly towards the center of the arena. The entire arena quietened down suddenly. A stagnated breath slowly proliferated. Maybe it was the expressions of the warriors, or maybe because they felt the importance of this battle. Sigiali could not help but hold her breath too. From deep within, for some unknown reason, she hoped that Saruman Snake could create a miracle. The auras of the two warriors slowly began to proliferate. Achilles adhered to the inheritance of the ancient martial arts. Rigorous and meticulous, and well-trained. He was able to remain calm in whatever situation. Only then would he be able to unleash his power to its full potential. The arbiter seemed calm and collected, unwavering like a mountain. The two auras collided. From the selections of their mecha, it was obvious that it would be an offensive battle for both. It was a battle of the vanguards. It was crossing an unavoidable narrow path, and only the brave would win. Whoever quivered would die, and it would also affect the future battles. With the spear in position, the tip was pointed directly at the frenzy mech. A single hand-raising movement was enough to make the imposing manner of the Heavenly Dragon Knight mech even sharper. Gun, king of millions of soldiers. It only needed a domineering air. Achilles had been familiar with this weapon since he came of age. Instead of saying that it was a weapon, it was more like a part of his body. He had been instilled with this belief since he was young, and it was almost similar to being hypnotized. The Heavenly King was invincible. Achilles' eyes burned with raging war. Heavenly King technique. Charging forward. Kill, kill, kill. Ever the gentleman, Achilles was revealing his wild side now. Following a loud roar, the Heavenly King Dragon Knight mech charged forward at a high speed. The Dragon Spear battle style had started. Although the battle axe was ferocious, a single gun ruled the world. To deal with a weapon was to understand the strengths and weaknesses of that weapon, and that was the basic foundation of the Heavenly King family. As the heir, Achilles' combat skills were inferior to no one. The Heavenly King Dragon Knight carried a tyrannical power and will and charged towards the frenzy. The gun was about the perfect combination of power and a sort of force to multiply the strength of the attacking force. At this moment, the battle axe of the frenzy mech was also raised instantly and charged towards the dragon spear. First contact. It was obvious that the Arbiter had no reason to avoid the battle. Everyone's focus was now on the battle. It had begun. Bang! Boom! An earth-shattering noise. Achilles' face turned pale instantly. He could barely hold on to the dragon spear's tremors. The response of the battle axe was not particularly good, but the attack of the dragon spear had been unleashed. But what was with this power? Achilles was unable to recover from the huge counterattack. Bang! The frenzy mech had already kicked out. The kick solidly struck the body of the Heavenly King Dragon Knight. The Heavenly King flew 20 meters away as a result of the kick, feeling the full power of the kick. The Heavenly King mech laid flat on the ground and did not get up immediately. The big screens immediately penned into the cockpit. Blood was streaming down from the corner of Achilles' mouth. This meant that he had not been able to suppress his breath. His body was injured from the shock. Everyone thought that even if Arbiter had the advantage, the battle would still be a fierce fight. But the result was, how could the difference be so huge? Giali was stunned too. An exploratory crossfire. Achilles seems to be seriously injured. Judging from this expression, Jondi Lilac did not seem to be too shocked. Just as I said before the battle, other than Wang Zheng, no one else in Saruman Snake is top-notch. The rest of the members can only be considered outstanding. As for Menlo, not many know him, but his ability X is very normal. He's a power-type warrior. However, individuals with such ability X's rarely attain Earth rank. Yet he is a rare power-type Earth rank 2 warrior. There is nothing special about this ability. But the strength of 1 is equivalent to 10. This ability is the hardest to deal with. It was childish to play tricks when confronted with pure power. Truthfully, this type of power-type super warrior was very difficult to deal with. The most effective restraint for this type was the trait type. For instance, Jondi Lilac's death vines were especially effective to deal with this type. However, Achilles' fancy universal gravitational ability was somewhat ineffective against the power type. The Heavenly King Dragon Knight mech had already stood up. He had wrongly estimated the force of the strike. Even though Achilles knew that his opponent was a power type, knowing was one thing. He had been cautious during the probing attack, yet he had still underestimated the force and technique of an Earth rank 2 power type warrior. To put it bluntly, this type of control was more than sufficient for Menlo to shock Achilles to death. Menlo did not display any joy and contempt. Even if his opponent had been Wang Zheng, he would still battle him. For him, those who possessed unique abilities would be more difficult to deal with. There was nothing stronger than strength when it came to strengthening one's basic combat power. The battle axe struck towards Achilles. Bang! The ground cracked. A strong force struck towards Achilles. Subconsciously, the Heavenly King mech took a side step instantly. But a loud explosion sounded. Menlo's frenzy mech was already charging towards him at an astonishing speed. Bang! And the frenzy mech flew towards the dodging Heavenly King Dragon Knight mech. This battle axe had a great destructive force. Kill, kill, kill. This word, kill, came from Menlo instead of Achilles. It was not really that crisp sound. Instead, it was more like a bass cannon. It was totally impossible for the Heavenly King Dragon Knight mech to hide, even if it wanted to. Face the battle head-on. Even an amateur could tell that this was suicidal. The so-called techniques were only useful when both parties' strengths were almost on par. However, Menlo was clearly the overlord here. Growling, shing, the dragon spear flew out. The gravitational pull instantly activated and the Heavenly King mech was able to avoid a deadly blow from the battle axe. Bang! Boom! Gravel flew all around, following the loud explosion. The faces of the staff outside the arena turned black. What the hell? They had gone without sleep for 3 days and 2 nights to fix everything. The battle had only just started and everything was destroyed. Were these holes humans? What kind of damaging powers were these? The Heavenly King Dragon Knight mech's energy shield had to be activated. Yet the frenzy mech and the spine-chilling battle axe appeared among the flying gravel just as the shield was activated. Even though there was an energy shield, Menlo was unconcerned. He did not even try any fancy tricks, he merely swung the axe directly. The energy shield was useless, it could not defend against the sheer force that directly shocked the pilot to death. This was the battle of Earth-rank warriors. It was not some kids' mech games. Achilles understood this principle as well. Even under passive circumstances, the Heavenly King nonetheless took a shot. The spear and axe interlocked. Bang! Bang! The Heavenly King mech fired a shot from the dragon spear. Even at such a critical time, Achilles added a spiral force to his shot. However, it was useless. It only swept the battle axe aside. The frenzy mech landed on the ground, legs bent, but rose up instantly. A human's muscles needed a buffer to withstand the force, then erupt. However, to a power-type warrior, this was what the other types of warriors could not compare. Many people had seen an average power-type warrior, but they had never seen an Earth-rank 2 power-type warrior. Bang! Bang! A flying kick. Once again, a lethal strike on the Heavenly King Dragon Spear mech. Whoosh! Bang! This kick sent the Heavenly King Dragon Spear mech flying all the way till it hit the energy shield wall. The energy shield wall vibrated violently. The Heavenly King mech slid down slowly. At that moment, Achilles had both his arms in protection. He did not even attempt to launch an attack with his gravitational force. It was like attempting to use a horse to pull a train. It was suicide. Gravitational shield. Achilles swallowed the blood that was coming out of his mouth. The heavenly technique was in continuous motion, trying to calm the churning blood. This power was simply incredible. Or rather, this strength of 1 equivalent to 10 attacking method was exactly the type to restrain Achilles. Of course, restrain was mutual. There was no absolute. The important thing was the level. If the opponent's level was higher than Achilles, it would then be a total restrain. The camera was now pointed at the members of Saruman's snake. Everyone looked solemn. No one could provide any help now. Although they had expected this battle to be tough, they had not imagined it to be this tough. Arbiter had not declined. They should not be underestimated simply because of the failures of Asura and the Iron and Steel College. The soulless battle team was the real #1 battle team. This was the strength to suppress everything. Achilles took a deep breath, forcefully suppressing his injuries. It looks like Achilles hasn't given up yet. If he wants to live, he better surrender. The difference in strength is too great. It came from the introduction of the Royal College of Manalasuo. This is totally unexpected. This is all there is to the greatest king of Elite Academy X. Other than Wang Zhang, it seems like the rest are just not top class. I think that's because Arbiter is just too strong. It seems that the soulless battle team has made a good judgment call on the tactics of the Saruman snake. Menlo is totally restraining Achilles. The 2 commentators from the Versailles Empire College commented hopelessly. It seemed that this was not a fierce battle after all. Every college had also made their judgment, and all the big casinos had also adjusted their payouts for the bets. Individual strength would also affect team battles. It was obvious that the winning rate of the soulless battle team was rising continuously. In the battlefield, Achilles still had not given up. The Heavenly King mech was moving. He needed to retrieve his weapon first. With a wave of his hand, the gravitational force launched. The dragon spear flew towards the Heavenly King mech. But the cold whistling sound of killing came calling. Bang! The battle axe struck and sent the dragon spear flying again. Menlo carried the battle axe. Just as Captain Aragorn had predicted, Wang Zhang was a very brave man. If he had wanted a team battle, then Achilles would not have been the first one to take to the battlefield. It was obvious that he was not betting on a team battle, but rather, for individual battles to decide the outcome. Was he trying to get a 3-0 win? Menlo thought that this was the greatest joke in the entire world. Did this bunch of useless trash from Saruman's snake really think they could do it? He did not doubt Wang Zhang's power. However, the rest were not capable enough. If this was the case, the soulless battle team would gift Saruman's snake a 3-0 victory. However, Saruman's snake would be the one left empty-handed. Menlo carried the battle axe, slowly closing in on the Heavenly King mech. You are not my match. Surrender now. Otherwise, don't give me any trouble if you die later. Menlo did not mind killing off the loser, it was those annoying rules. There were not many annoying matters in the Arbiter military. However, the generals and managers had reminded him that they had to follow the rules of the outside world. Menlo was no fool either. Achilles did not reply, except the Heavenly King mech posed for battle. Menlo frowned. He had done his part and given him fair warning. If his opponent was seeking death, it would not be his fault. The frenzy mech suddenly advanced. The sudden advancement shocked everyone too. The ground cracked. The entire frenzy mech was like a missile advancing forward. It was even more ferocious than the cannon of the Overlord mech. The Heavenly King mech dodged. This head-on confrontation would definitely shatter it into pieces. Menlo's sudden advancement and speed of attack were indeed very strong. However, he did not have any advantage in terms of the speed. Of course, the oppressor had the upper hand. However, each time he got closer, Achilles would use the repulsive force to open up a distance between them. He was still capable of such skill. After all, he was an Earth-rank warrior. He still had this skill. Menlo was not afraid that his opponent would attack him, but he would be speechless if his opponent were to run away. If he was so afraid to die, why battle? Ran away. Was that useful? Moon. Silence. The historic Moonlight Academy was immersed in what felt like the silence of death. Their idol, and the glorious past of the moon, were they gone forever? When confronted with a real shooter, was running the only option? Giant banners of the handsome Achilles could be seen throughout the Moonlight Academy. The many different light effects created a glorious, godlike effect. Yet now, Achilles was like a beaten dog, embarrassingly escaping. It seems that the difference in strength has forced Achilles to stall for time while looking for opportunities, said Sigiali. But he hasn't given up battling. Sigiali had wanted to compliment Achilles but could not utter a word even when it was already at the tip of her tongue. When it was time to fight, he should fight. However, it was clear that the gap was huge and that this was just delaying his defeat. Just play punk and be a gangster. In the VIP room, the four beauties were also stunned. What the hell? Achilles was considered rather handsome, and it was something a minority of non-Aslan people would acknowledge. But this was totally humiliating. Indeed, when it comes to battling, good looks doesn't mean a thing. Qian Shuidi licked a lollipop. Her choice today was a barbecue flavor. Her lips were very bright, just like the blood that was flowing from Achilles' mouth. Lin Weiyan's little hands were clasped tightly together. Her elder sister had said that the first match was very important. Saruman Snake's only chance was the individual battles, where they still stood a fighting chance. Once they went into team battle, they would have practically no chance of winning. But did they even stand a chance in individual battles? Inside the palace, Kashan had specially made time and invited Aina to watch this, all-important, battle together. The two, who held the highest power in Aslan, did not speak. However, it was obvious that Kashan was more relaxed. She did not need to be present at the arena for such a match. However, this was a good opportunity to inhibit and educate Aina. What was surprising was that Aina had accepted the invitation. Kashan thought that Aina would avoid it. It seemed that she had grown stronger during the last few years. This was a good sign. However, this was just like the current live battle. If they could not even defeat the mere soulless, how could there be talks about the championship? Taking 1,000 steps back, being in love was one thing, marriage was another. Marrying Aina was equivalent to marrying the Aslan Empire. It was as hard as landing on the moon. Wang Zheng was arrogant, even the beggars could brag. Mitchell and Lacus were standing behind Kashan and Aina respectively. Lacus was clearly more anxious. This was so unfair. The big screens were now focused on Wang Zheng. He was now considered a legend. A human who had continuously humiliated Aslan, Arbiter, Manalasuo, and other great nations. It was already a miracle to have taken the title of the greatest king in Elite Academy X. Honestly speaking, had Saruman Snake not sprung such a surprise, this SIG would not have reached such scale. Aslan and Arbiter would not have such a lineup either. Although both parties were hostile, they also had a tacit understanding. This time, they had been forced to go all out. However, it was a wondrous though, Wang Zheng had actually led the momentum of two countries. But that all would end here. Many of the national colleges, commentaries were lamenting that this man was born in the wrong place. Did you all notice? The members of Saruman's snake are not depressed. Nor are they disappointed. If you say Wang Zheng is steadfast because of his strength, then take a look at the rest, even the substitutes. Their eyes are filled with hope. Oh, this is an extravagant hope. If looks could kill, I would now be the greatest king. My looks are known to be penetrating. Everyone laughed loudly. The students from Astina Military College also laughed loudly. This had nothing to do with them. They were merely enjoying the show. Actually, it had not even been that exciting. Wang Zheng could not hear the laughter. Achilles could not hear the ridicule. Achilles had focused all his attention on escaping. He finally picked up his weapon again after making a full circle. The damaged arena created a chance for him to display his gravitational technique. However, he had been cornered by the frenzy mech. Honestly speaking, Menlo hated to run. It was dry and boring. He had intentionally allowed Achilles to retrieve his weapon because it was a waste of time running around in circles. Even if he were to kill him with his axe eventually, it was still a waste of time. The two mecha faces each other once again. Knowing that Achilles was no longer concerned about his pride, Menlo was not going to give Achilles another chance to run around in circles again. Besides, he had already given him fair warning. His death would be in vain now. Holding tight to the dragon spear, Achilles was no longer running. Menlo's frenzy mech was gripping the battle axe with both his hands. This time he was going to use his favorite move, cut the cord. Even the energy shield could offer no protection. Achilles' spiritual power exploded, but so did Menlo's, and it instantaneously restrained Achilles. The killer instincts of Arbiter's warriors were very brutal. This was a result of regional wars. It had a different feel to it. In addition, warriors who had experienced large-scale wars had vastly different comprehension from those who had only experienced individual battles. They could comprehend a kind of war spirit. As soon as Menlo took his imposing stance, there was an immediate overwhelming sense of hostility. There was no fear of death, just charging forward. This was the essence of an arbiter warrior. Achilles had never thought of overwhelming his opponent. He merely did not want to be overwhelmed by this opponent. The Heavenly King Dragon Spear was spinning up. This was the most difficult battle yet for Achilles. This was not an equal battle. Menlo was 5 years older than him and had far richer experience. These 5 years were times of rapid growth for a warrior. However, no one would take this into consideration in the battlefield. Engagement. The gravitational force fully engaged. Under the guidance of the ability X, the dragon spear's spinning became even more ferocious. On the other end, Menlo had transferred his power to the battle axe. A current appeared from the violent force field. Menlo wanted to kill with a single strike. One less fighter meant a higher chance of winning. Since they had reached this stage, there was no need for compassion. Of course, the arbiters knew very little about compassion. Menlo's murderous instinct is very strong. If Achilles confronts it head-on, it will be fatal, said John D. Lilac. This was what everyone thought as well. Achilles did not choose to evade. Menlo had no reason to stop either. Everyone knew that there was no turning back once such a strike had been made. There was nothing the organizing committee could pick on either. Every breath almost stopped. Charge. Kill. 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 Both mecha charged towards each other simultaneously. The battle axe struck in a burst. Instantly, the space seemed to be collapsing. Unable to take the pressure, the ground sunk with the frenzy mech as the center. At this instant, the battle axe seemed to generate an extremely powerful gravitational pull, sucking everything towards it. Collapsing force. Achilles did not evade at this very moment. He knew when to battle. The Heavenly King Dragon Knight struck. Facing head-on. This was definitely courting death. Everyone kept their eyes on the two, pupils shrunk. This was obviously suicidal. However, at the very same moment, everyone saw another scene. Just as Achilles struck with his spear, a second spear struck too. Gravitational Force Spear. Ability X Concretization. The Heavenly King Double Dragon Spears. The sudden change shocked Menlo. A weapon from the concretization of Ability X was not defendable by an energy shield. It would directly attack the physical body. Achilles was trading his life with him. A smile appeared from the corner of Achilles' mouth. At a moment of life and death, there was absolutely no hesitation from the warrior from the moon. That's right. This was exchanging lives. However, he had met an arbiter. If ever there were warriors from a country who were generally not afraid to die, it would have to be Arbiter. The hesitation only lasted for a split second before the frenzy mech's battle axe hacked down. Boom, boom, bang, bang. In an instant, the Heavenly King Dragon Knight was smashed to pieces. The Heavenly King mech was hacked at the same time, and the energy shield was smashed into pieces. The arms of the Heavenly King mech reached out to meet the attack. Boom, boom, bang, bang. Exploded into pieces. The Heavenly King mech was blown off too. Fresh blood spouted onto the screen. On the other hand, the frenzy mech did not move. The gravitational spear penetrated through the energy shield, through the mech, and struck directly at Menlo. Blood was flowing out from Menlo's eyes, ears, mouth, and nose. This was trading lives. Achilles had waited till the very end. If he had revealed this too early, Menlo would definitely not have given him this opportunity. He could only have this tiny opportunity if his opponent thought that he was weak. Menlo clenched his teeth, holding back the excruciating pain he felt from his entire body. Even his tough, devil-like body felt the breaking point. This damn idiot. He had actually tricked him. Achilles' Heavenly King Dragon Knight did not stand any more chance as sparks flew from the broken arms. The Heavenly King mech moved slightly. Achilles' face was pale. The mech swayed as it stood up. But it could only lean against the energy shield wall, like a fish on the chopping board waiting to be slaughtered. The frenzy mech approached slowly. Menlo's expression was unusually hideous. It was his moment of hesitation that had spared the life of his opponent. It seemed that his experience was still lacking. If this were to happen again in the future, he would need to be more vicious, more merciless. The battle axe was raised up high. Achilles had to admit defeat now. If he didn't, the organizing committee would have no right to stop the battle. The battle axe hacked now. Growling, zung, 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 zung. The entire arena was stunned. Although Menlo's battle axe was held high up, he could no longer lower it. The frenzy mech had been pierced by numerous laser beams. Energy control plus concretization. The frenzy mech was covered in laser shots. This was not the first time that the energy shield wall had been used in such a way. The Mayans were more amazing, but this time it was fiercer. There was nothing new about Achilles' ultimate trick, but it was practical. However, it had to be used when his opponent least expected it. Achilles knew right from the beginning that the gravitational spear would not be able to kill Menlo. After 2 levels of single defense, coupled with his opponent's physical strength, the most he could do was inflict minor injuries. However, the injuries he would sustain would definitely be more serious. If his opponent were determined to kill him, it would have been the end for him. He was, after all, human. A moment of hesitation gave Achilles an opportunity. Him leaning against the energy protection wall was not for support, but to launch an attack. Menlo had been very confident about his power. He knew that his opponent's body was on the verge of collapse. However, his head was raging with anger. He was bound to overlook some things at moments like this. Thus, he would naturally think that the gravitational force would be unable to stop his power. Little did he know that this would happen. Boom, boom, bang, bang. The frenzy mech fell to the ground with a loud bang, sending sparks all round. Menlo had died in battle. Saruman Snake won the first match of the battle. A trace of a smile appeared on Achilles' face. His vision was getting blurry. He did not know when Wang Zheng had exerted such influence on him that he would try such stupid stuff. He did not know when he started considering himself a member of Saruman Snake. He also did not know when he wanted to take on some responsibilities. Not for himself, but for others. Blood was spouting out from Achilles' mouth. Everything went black. The emergency response team dragged Achilles out from the mech. Both his arms were beyond distortion. This was why Menlo had been so confident. Achilles' arms were broken just by the mere hack of the axe. There were more than 10 fractures in the bones. All Achilles could do was stand up. He could not even move his mech. If Menlo had swung his axe now, everything would be over. But the arbiters liked to finish off the battle with their own hands. This was also Achilles' only chance. What if he had not approached? Achilles did not know. No one knew. This was because there was no what if. The first battle between Saruman's snake and the soulless battle team, one dead and one seriously injured. The arbiters' eyes were filled with murderous intent now. The first battle had set the tone for the rest of the battles. It was a battle to the death. It also announced to everyone that Saruman's snake had no intention of giving up. There were no cheers from the students at the Moonlight College. Everyone had their hands across their hearts. This was a battle for life, but with the determination of death. Only then could such a setup be possible for the battle. In situations where the difference in strength was obvious, there was only one way to win, to find a way out of an impasse. It seems that the arbiters haven't fully prepared for battle. This is not a duel, but a battle for life and death, said Jondi Lilac seriously. This was truly Sig. How could one give up with that kind of determination in their heart? The real battle had only just begun. The furious arbiters would be fighting back now. Wang Zheng was feeling conflicted. He could ignore his own death, but he could not ignore others. However, Zhang Shan had already stood up. He had no need to know who his opponent would be. His other hand was already holding onto Wang Zheng's shoulder. I'll definitely become famous after this battle. No one can take that from me. Wang Zheng was lost for words. Zhang Shan laughed. I've spent the whole of last night thinking about it. When you marry Aina, I will have to be the best man. As soon as he finished, Zhang Shan laughed and walked out. I will definitely win this battle for you, brother.